Before this video begins, if you are a survivor, a victim, or someone who's been affected by domestic violence, please call 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-SAFE. You matter, you're worth it, and you deserve to feel safe not only in your home, but in your city and your community. Hey there, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. This is Talking to Myself, the part of the day where I talk to myself about things that I was thinking the night before while laying in bed. Shout out, of course, to all 1,400 of you who are subscribed at the time of making this video. I truly do appreciate it. I never ask anyone to subscribe, so it really means a lot that people actually subscribe to something just like this, mainly me bitching and ranting. So shout out to me bitching and ranting, it's working out. Shout out to you guys for actually liking it. Couple things. First thing I want to say is I've got a couple interesting DMs today. And they were about a post that I put on Instagram where basically I said, if anyone wants a 90mm f2, I'm going to be selling mine because a 50mm f2 is, well, damn fantastic. And there's really no need for it because to me it's a redundancy. And people are confused by that because I love the 90mm f2. And they said, well, you know, I thought it was your favorite portrait lens of all time. And it is my favorite portrait lens of all time. The 90mm f2, to me, if you just want one portrait lens, that's the lens to go to. And you can build your kit around that. And then people talk about why not the 50mm 1.0. And again, I've made a video about this, but the 50mm 1.0 isn't a lens that I would actually recommend. Mostly because the weight, the price, and the performance of it at 1.0, it's not that amazingly special. I could get nearly the same look at a 56 1.2. When you start pixel peeping and stuff, yeah, the 50mm 1.0 has more micro contrast, it has more sharpness, but considering the fact that I can't click and zoom in on a printed photo when I'm giving it to someone that has paid me, it really doesn't matter. Here's my thing. I don't have to collect gear anymore because I only want the gear that is going to be used for certain things. It helps me with my decision. I'm not looking for a 1.0, 1.2 lens because I want their whole face to be sharp. I want the subject to be sharp. What I'm using on that, I was using the 90 f2, but right now I want to use the 50mm f2 because if I get close enough, it's the exact same image. And even more than that, I have a 50 to 140 that has that 90mm focal length in there, which gives me the exact same compression. Now you may be saying f2.8 and f2, they're way different. Well, here's the thing is they're not. And even more, when I put this photo up right here of this family portrait I did, this was shot at f4. Now, mind you, I'm hella close and I'm basically have crop in on them, but that compression is from an f4 image. Now they're all sharp, they're all in focus. The grass behind them is kind of in focus, but everything else in the background, it's compressed. Yes, you can tell what it is. No, it's not completely blurred out. But if that's not a pleasing image, I don't know how to make people happy. But the thing is this, no customer's ever come to me and said, oh, you know what? I would have preferred if you would have used this kind of lens or with this kind of f-stop. I just want to make you guys aware, if you have all these famous photographers from film that are using Nikons, that are using Leicas, that are using Rolly cameras all at the same time and getting similar images. I mean, let's be honest, they're similar images. They're not all shooting at f1.2, they're stopping down. I mean, some of Leica's best lenses are f2, 2.8, f4, whatever. They're not f1.0s. They're not the 0.95s. And that's the thing is we put so much of an onus on the spec behind it because people on YouTube have told us that these fast lenses are the only thing that professionals use, that a blurred background and a lot of bokeh is the only thing that's professional, when that's not true. If you actually go to a photography exhibit, if you look at older photography, what we've shaped our life on, we talk about the Nacho Libre, or the Nacho Libres, the Nacho Lopez's, we talk about the Gordon Parks, the HCBs, we talk about all these people and then we look at their images and we ignore the fact that I'd say about 95% of them are shot at f2.8, f4, f5.6. And why do we ignore it? We ignore it because we want to have the look and the feel and the inspiration from these guys, but we honor and we devote more of basically recognition to YouTubers who don't know much. It just goes back to even with Tony Northrup, and I mentioned it yesterday or in my video the other day. He just lied about the EOS R3 and he lied about people using it. He said that everyone's going to be super duper, and you can watch his video. I mean, I don't want you to, so let me paraphrase it because I'm not lying. And honestly, if I'm lying, you can go ahead and drop comments on him and tell him I called him out or whatever. That's fine because I can back up everything I'm saying. He made it sound like every person reviewing that Canon camera was a Canon ambassador, and that's why they could say nothing wrong about it. And he also said that, it doesn't have things like GPS. It doesn't truly shoot 30 frames per second. He made this big gotcha kind of scandal, gotcha journalism kind of thing. The issue is Tony Northrup never received a Canon EOS R3. And he made all these opinions about people. And he propped himself up like, I'm the only person telling you the truth. Whenever Frono's Photo, Gordon Lang, even Gadget, I forgot Gadget's last name, but even Gadget, even Pal2Tech came out and said something against what he was saying and how this is embellishing and lying. Well, of course, when you don't have a review unit, you probably shouldn't have a review of the product. And unfortunately, that's what he does. And these are the people that we're propping up. I like Peter McKinnon. I used to watch all of his videos, his 2-Minute Tuesdays, whatever they were. They were super duper fun, man. I may have moved past that, but at the same time, it came to the same thing. He always pushed out the fastest lens. And again, he's using 2.8 lenses. But the faster lens, the better the bokeh. It's creamy. It looks super professional. It looks super dreamy. And these are the things that everyone is going after. And now because of it, we have a whole bunch of people that think that f2 glass, that f1.8 glass isn't professional, isn't usable. When people that are using f2.0 glass, 1.8 glass, even kit lenses, but are putting their whole heart and soul into it, they're making better images than you. And why is that? Why is it that you guys are buying top of the line Leicas? And I'm sincerely meaning this because I see it all the time, and I get death threats, and I get people telling me, hey, I hope you die. You're an idiot, go f yourself, all this shit all the time in my Instagram DMs. I get people talking shit on Facebook. I mean, it happens, and luckily for me, I'm of the person that laughs because, what are you gonna do? Fight me? Like, I can literally whoop anyone's ass. I mean, like, y'all don't even understand how big of it, like, I can just whoop your ass. And so I'm never really upset about it, but I end up looking at these guys' pages when they do photography and stuff like that. I never bring it up, but you guys have shit images. You're shooting on Sonys, you're shooting on Canons, you're shooting on Panasonics and Leicas, you're even shooting on Fujifilm, or you're shooting on Olympus, and your images are just horrible. They're really bad. They're horrible. People that have negative things to say about others, and people that have things to say about, oh, well, you're not real because you're not using this, and this, or they have to say something negative about this lens or that lens to prop up something else. They're just bad at what they do. It's the same way as in sports. Everyone assumes that to be a fan of LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, etc., you have to hate everyone else and dumb them down. It's pathetic. People have opinions on things that they don't know anything about. They don't own. It always gets on my nerves that people are like, well, I heard this and, no, I used that lens once. And it's like, you used it once. And your images were probably shit because you're a half-ass photographer. You're a half-ass videographer. Everyone's using the same. Y'all, if you look up hashtag Sony or hashtag Canon camera, whatever, and you start looking through people's photos, every Sony and every Canon camera, and I mean this objectively, I'm not doing this to be an asshole, because I've seen it with Fujifilm sometimes too. But because people are doing film simulations and stuff, it's not always the same. Like, that's the one saving grace Fujifilm has. But even like I see it, you all edit your images the same. They all do. Every Sony image has the same thing. Every Canon photographer that shoots weddings has the same faded copper tone, faded, It's the same thing like in 2010 through 2014 that every Canon user was shooting teal and orange. And they're editing like that. The same way that every Leica and every Fujifilm owner, and maybe I think up until 2020, was doing the S-curve for was doing an S-curve. You guys want to diss other people for what they're using. You guys want to diss other people for the camera brand and the lens and, oh, no, we're professional. When in my mind, it's like, you shouldn't be talking crap about someone else because that just outs you. It's pathetic. It's weird. It's weird when people are so obsessed with what someone else is doing, or they're making stuff up about someone else or something else. It's the same way. Tony's a grown-ass man, and he wants to get likes on social media, so he lies. That's weird. The same way that a lot of you are grown-ass men, and you don't have a profile pic of yourself on any of your social media, and you're leaving comments about things that are negative that you've never used. Now again, if you use something and had a bad experience, I totally feel for you. Trust me, I the same way. The 35f2, I do not like that lens at all. That is the only Fujikron I will never try because to me that thing was ass. But if you've never used it, why is it so imperative to lie about what you've used and about what you've done in order to get people on your side? Why do people think it's okay to make up something that you've never had an experience with in order to prove a point that, honestly, why are you trying to prove that considering you've never experienced that at all? Do you get what I'm saying? It's the weirdest thing ever. And so I just hear people talk, these people were telling me today, and not all of them, it was like 3 people. One of them was actually curious about the 50 and the 90. And I've always told people, and this is what I continue to tell people, the 90 millimeter would be my perfect lens, and I wouldn't get the 50 millimeter if I didn't have the 50 to 140. So if I'm doing weddings, I've already got the reach. And an f2, my 50 is already as fast as that. It's basically the same formula. Side by side, they're both sharp. The speed is almost it's actually completely identical. The only difference is the 90 millimeter has more compression, but at the same time, if I use the 50 to 140, or if I just walk up with the 50 millimeter, I have the same thing. And even more than that, the 50 is lighter. It's easier to carry around. I can put it on the XT30 and have a second body and it'd be fine. There's reasons behind owning everything. And I just want you guys to understand, you don't have to have what people call professional to be professional. John Branch 4 Photography is an amazing photographer. And I honestly, Fujifilm needs to just make him an ambassador. They need to put him at the forefront. They need to send him all the gear for review. They need to put this guy at the forefront of everything they're doing completely, because he uses the products every damn day professionally for paid gigs. These aren't, hey, we're Fujifilm and we're going to work on a project with you. No, this is, if he messes these up, do you understand that he's got to now deal with a bad review, deal with an unhappy customer? That's the biggest thing. He's using the GFX 50R or the 50S, whatever, or 100S, whatever it is. Whatever he's using medium format. He's using the APS-C, and he's not complaining. This is a guy who doesn't complain. He uses the f2 Fujicron lenses. Yes, he has a 51.0, but at the same time, if you look at 90% of his videos, it's on a damn 23 f2 and a 35 f2, and the slow, which it was slow for me. I didn't like it. The 56 1.2. Maybe it was just my copy. But at the same time, that's a guy who's using it every single day. And that's who Fujifilm, and that's who we as people that are in the Fujifilm kingdom, or anyone interested in Fujifilm or learning more, need to listen to. Why are you listening to people who don't use this stuff professionally? You don't have to listen to me. Yeah, I use this stuff for work. But at the same time, if you want to listen, you can listen to anyone you want to. Why wouldn't you choose the guy who's using this every day, this is his livelihood, versus someone who's known to lie? We do that. We prop up these people when they're known to lie. Why? Oh, because they have a lot of followers, because they have a lot of subscribers. Well, their work's ass. Why do you think they make more reviews than show their actual shots? And there's nothing special about any shots that a lot of these guys are taking. Again, any of my photos that weren't taken at a live event, concerts, sporting event, wedding, etc., those can all be recreated. Every single one of your photos, they can all be recreated. Every portrait, every quinceañera photo, every single engagement photo, those can be recreated with someone else. You can buy the exact same outfit, you can get similar looking people, etc., etc. But when it comes to stuff you can only do once, that's the only time where I call it a wash. But why in the world are we acting like someone's photos? It doesn't matter who it is. Listen, I love Willem Verbeek. I love Volandis. I love all these people. But you put a film camera in someone else's hand, the exact same camera, and have people go to the exact same places they were at, or you go to get with the exact same people, they had the exact same models, and you can recreate the exact same photo. That's how we should look at photography. Photography isn't this exclusive, you have to be good enough and you have to learn this. No, photography needs to be inclusive. No matter what budget you're in, no matter the person that you are, no matter where you came from, no matter what body you're using, no matter what lenses you're using, because here's the thing. For as good as you think you are, you ain't shit. For as good as I think that I am, I'm not shit. The only thing I have going for me is 3 things. Number 1, I've been humble as hell in this whole journey. I've helped people below me, I've assisted people above me, and I've never asked for anything. I've never wanted a handout, I've never mooched, I've never lied. I've just put my best foot forward and my work has spoken for itself. That is completely it. The second thing I have going for me is the fact that I literally don't give a damn about what camera body and what system I use, because I know photography. because it should be the same on everything. Autofocus speed shouldn't matter. You guys, I shot with a Canon 1N for a long time. A film camera. You want to talk about focusing? I shot on film cameras. I shot on the Yashica, on a Yashica. I literally have a Canon at 17 up there. It's not that hard. The third thing that I have going for me is that I invested actual money in myself for training on color grading, videography, photography, etc., how to use programs. That's all that I have going for me. That's the only thing that separates me from you. You guys can do the exact same thing I'm doing. Start the YouTube channel. Start working and just get a catalog going. There is nothing special about me. There's nothing special about Peter McKinnon, Tony Northrup. There's nothing special about Volundis. And listen, these guys are all amazing. But the thing is, you can do this too. No matter where you are, no matter how much money you have to spend, start out with that kit lens. Start out with that old, outdated body. Pick up an X Pro 1, an XT1, and a cheap Chinese lens. You know what? You know all that matters is you going out and creating. Because no one ever looks on a photo and says immediately, I would like this, but it doesn't look like this kind of color. No one does. What story are you telling? Tell the story. Tell the story of the image, of the subject, of whatever you're taking a photo of. Don't tell the story of your camera. Now, you may see me on Instagram or on here, and I'm talking about lenses, I'm talking about bodies. And that's because it's nature of the beast. That's what I'm doing. I'm trying to talk to you guys. But more than anything, I just want everyone to know about, listen, your voice matters. And it matters more than what kind of camera and lens you have. So when I say I'm going to use a 50mm f2, it has nothing to do with the fact that, I flip-flopped from the 90mm. It has nothing to do with the fact that, I'm going back. You want to know what it has to do with? It has to do with this one simple fact. It doesn't matter what gear I use. I'm pretty damn good at my job. And you are too, no matter what you're using. So bust your ass, man. Be humble. Be you. And go out there and create. And have a good time doing it.